What if the biggest move before the deadline does not come from Boston, but still reshapes the entire Eastern Conference race in the Celtics' favor? The Knicks are wobbling, and the league is paying attention. A team that once looked stable is now searching for answers. And those answers might involve a name nobody expected to hear. In trade whispers this late, New York has collapsed fast. 9 losses in 11 games. Defensive breakdowns piling up, frustration growing louder behind closed doors. League insiders are now floating a scenario that would have felt unthinkable months ago. Karl Anthony Towns being discussed in trade talks. Not leaked, discussed. That difference matters. The issue is not offense. Towns still stretches the floor, still bends defenses, still demands respect. The issue is what happens when the game slows down, when matchups get hunted, when playoff basketball exposes every weakness. Pairing Towns with another guard who teams relentlessly target has created a structural problem the Knicks cannot hide anymore. Executives around the league see it. Coaches see it. Opponents feel it. His contract makes everything louder. $53 million this season. Years still attached. And no easy escape hatch. Any move would be seismic, and that is exactly why this matters for Boston. Instability in New York changes the math at the top of the East. It creates hesitation. It creates rushed decisions. And rushed decisions are where smart franchises feast. The Celtics do not need to panic. They do not need to react emotionally. They can watch rivals chase fixes while Boston stays grounded in continuity, depth, and flexibility. If the Knicks swing big and miss, the standings open up. If they hesitate, the tension lingers. Either path favors the team that knows exactly who it is. Here is the uncomfortable question for New York. Are they building to survive April, or just trying to quiet January? And here is the exciting part for Boston fans. While others scramble, the Celtics sit in position, calm, patient, and ready to capitalize on whatever cracks appear next. The deadline is close. The whispers are real. And the next shift in power might come without the Celtics moving a single piece. The Eastern Conference picture looks settled until one variable refuses to stay quiet. What happens when the most dangerous addition of the season is not a trade, but a return that nobody can properly price in yet? Detroit just beat Boston in a game that felt heavier than a normal January matchup. Physical, tight, measured. The Pistons look like a team that believes the East already runs through them. The standings support that confidence. The recent head-to-head results reinforce it. But that confidence is built on a version of Boston that may no longer exist when the games truly matter. Around the league, executives are not asking if JAYSON Tatum is coming back. They are asking when and how close he will be to himself. That question alone forces contenders to rethink their margin for error. Boston has already proven something uncomfortable for its rivals. The Celtics can survive, adapt, and win at a high level without their centerpiece. That is rare. That is dangerous. Here is the part nobody likes to say out loud. When a top-tier team learns how to win without its best player, reintegrating him does not always break chemistry. Sometimes it unlocks a second-gear opponents never prepared for. The Celtics are not chasing survival anymore. They are stockpiling answers. Detroit can afford patience at the deadline, but patience does not equal ignorance. Tatum returning even at less than full capacity changes matchups, late-game decision trees, and defensive priorities. It forces teams to choose who they are willing to leave exposed. That choice alone bends playoff series. The Pistons might still be favorites. They might still trust continuity. But deep down, they know the most impactful move in the East may already be wearing green, waiting, rehabbing, and watching. And when that piece clicks back into place, the conversation around power in the conference will sound very different. The clock is ticking, not on Boston, on everyone else trying to stay ahead of what is coming. What if the most important message to the trade market was delivered in a loss that felt almost like a warning shot? Boston walked into Detroit, short-handed, inefficient, and clearly not at full rhythm. yet still came one possession away from flipping the entire night upside down. That detail should not be ignored by anyone watching the Eastern Conference closely. The Celtics did almost everything wrong on paper. Poor shooting, turnovers piling up, a rough night from a primary scorer. And still the final minutes told a very different story. The execution was clean. The spacing was sharp. The shot they wanted appeared exactly where it should. Joe Mazzulla trusted it. Jaylen Brown embraced it. Sometimes the miss matters less than how you arrive there. This road trip quietly exposed something deeper. Boston no longer needs perfect conditions to threaten elite teams. They can absorb physicality, manufacture free throws against one of the most aggressive defenses in the conference, and control the glass in hostile buildings. That evolution changes how the front office must think heading into the deadline. Neemias Queta holding his ground inside was not just a nice box score note. It was proof that internal answers are forming. 14 offensive rebounds were not an accident. They were intent. They were force. And that matters when evaluating whether desperation moves are necessary. Here is the part that creates real tension. The Celtics are doing this without their ultimate variable even on the floor yet. While rivals debate panic trades or chemistry risks, Boston can afford patience with purpose. Any addition now is not about saving the season. It is about sharpening a blade that is already cutting. Detroit played this game like a playoff test. Boston treated it like a data point. That difference matters. The deadline is approaching, and the league is about to learn whether this road trip was a setback or a signal that the Celtics are closer to something bigger than the standings currently show. What if the loudest name linked to Boston before the deadline is also the one the Celtics do not actually need to chase? That question sits quietly behind the Ivica Zubac buzz, and it reveals more about Boston's strength than any rumor headline ever could. Around the league, executives understand why Zubac draws attention. Reliable rim control, elite defensive rebounding, a contract that does not suffocate future flexibility. On paper, it looks like a clean solution. Plug him in and watch a weakness disappear. That is the easy read. The deeper one is more interesting. The Celtics are not shopping out of fear. They are evaluating from a position of leverage. That distinction matters. Boston is already winning games that should be uncomfortable. They are controlling physical matchups without a traditional anchor. They are forcing opponents to adjust to them instead of the other way around. That changes how Brad Stevens approaches any conversation involving picks or young assets. Here is the uncomfortable truth for the rest of the East. Zubac would help Boston, but Boston does not need Zubac to stay dangerous. The Clippers know this. That is why their asking price would be aggressive, and that is exactly why restraint becomes a weapon. Overpaying now solves a problem today, while creating two tomorrow. The most important factor is timing. The Celtics are not done evolving internally. Development is still happening. Roles are still solidifying. And the biggest swing piece has not even returned to the floor yet. Adding a center is about optimizing ceilings, not stabilizing floors. Boston can wait because waiting does not weaken their hand. It sharpens it. If the right move appears, they strike. If it does not, they still walk into the postseason as a team nobody wants to draw. The deadline is close, the noise is loud, but the calm belongs to the Celtics.